Welcome to this explainer. Look, merging the time-tested principles of operational excellence with artificial intelligence, it's literally the only real way to drive business value today. You don't need to get bogged down in dense technical code. We just need to understand how these two monumental fields intersect and why one absolutely has to come before the other. To really grasp why this matters so urgently right now, we have to look at the existential threat that every single business faces. Way back in 1942, economist Joseph Schumpeter nailed what he called the essential fact about capitalism. It's this underlying force that drives markets forward, but it completely crushes organizations that fail to keep up. He called it creative destruction. Basically, it's this relentless cycle where new innovations just completely replace outdated technologies and business models. But here's the massive shift for us. With the explosion of AI, this destructive cycle isn't just happening anymore. It's happening so much faster, and the consequences are deadlier than ever before. To survive this and not become a statistic, you've got to be agile, and you absolutely must master where OpEx and AI meet. All right, so here is our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. Surviving creative destruction. 2. The parallel histories of AI and OpEx. 3. The 7 core principles. And finally, 4, the AI OpEx synthesis. Let's jump right into Section 1, Surviving Creative Destruction. So, the absolutely crucial first step here is drawing a strict boundary around our operational and management systems. Look, if you view AI in a vacuum, it gets highly technical, incredibly fast. But as business practitioners, we aren't here to learn how to write underlying Python code for a neural network, right? We are here to figure out how to leverage those networks to actually move the needle in our day-to-day process improvement. Moving right along to Section 2, Parallel Histories of AI and OpEx. To really understand how to deploy these tools effectively today, we need a rapid look at how they actually evolved. Because, AI is not a new concept. It started way back in 1950 with Alan Turing asking that famous question, can machines think? Then it moved through the Dartmouth Conference where the actual term was coined, advanced into expert systems in the 80s, deep learning in the 2010s, all the way up to today's massive large language models like ChatGPT. It's really been a decades-long road of building up these capabilities. And meanwhile, operational excellence has its own super rich lineage, right? It grew from Frederick Taylor's scientific management and efficiency methods in the early 20th century. Then, post-WWI, you had heavy hitters like Deming and Juran, alongside the Toyota production system, shifting the whole focus to statistical quality control, flow, and, crucially, respect for people. By the 80s and 90s, this evolved into the global Lean Six Sigma we know today. So for decades, these two tracks developed in parallel, and today, they are finally colliding. Which brings us to the core of this explainer. Section 3, the 7 core principles. Now, always remember this. Technology simply amplifies the underlying process. If you just drop AI into a fundamentally flawed system, well, you're really just going to make mistakes a lot faster. We prevent that with Principle 1, value creation. And value is defined entirely by the voice of the customer, their actual needs, their expectations. By grounding our AI initiatives in the VOC, we avoid that massive, massive trap of just optimizing internal efficiency at the expense of what the customer actually cares about. And this leads right into Principle 2, eliminating non-value-added steps or waste. Take a look at this actual bank loan process. A customer applies, the paperwork gets printed out, physically walked over to another department, scanned back into the system, and then manually re-entered because, surprise, the systems don't actually talk to each other. Applying advanced AI to a process like this, it's literally like strapping a rocket engine to a horse-drawn carriage. You have to systematically fix those broken integrations first. Okay, Principle 3 is systems thinking. This demands that we step back and view the work end to end. Imagine having a highly optimized shipping department, but it's completely disconnected from the broader supply chain. If they're just acting as independent, isolated silos, your overall performance is still going to suffer. Systems thinking is what reveals all those invisible, broken handoffs. Principle 4 is standardization. This is about defining the current best-known way to perform a task. But it raises a really massive question for us in the modern era. What exactly happens when an AI overlay meets unstandardized data? Well, the answer is simple, and honestly, it's a little terrifying. If there is no consistent way to process inputs before AI overlays the system, the work is going to vary wildly from person to person. Feed that mess into an AI, and the outcomes just become incredibly noisy, erratic, and utterly unreliable. You simply cannot build artificial intelligence on top of human chaos. It just doesn't work. Which perfectly tees up Principle 5, measurement. Measurement creates alignment, for sure, but it is also a literal prerequisite for AI and automation. Technologies can really only improve what is clearly defined, so poor data guarantees poor automation. Measurement is absolutely your foundation for learning and sustainable growth here. Moving to Principle 6, risk management. Every process has risk, right? OpEx proactively uses systematic tools like FMAA, failure mode and effects analysis, to ask, okay, what could possibly go wrong here? When you add automated AI into that mix, FMAA becomes absolutely critical for anticipating failures and catching those unexpected weird machine outputs before they ever hit your customer. And finally, Principle 7, leadership. Let's be real. Without support from the top, improvement efforts die almost instantly. Leaders have to govern AI responsibly, they have to allocate the right resources, and they need to build what Peter Senge called the learning organization. We're talking about teams that collaborate, engage deeply, and most importantly, aren't afraid to embrace learning from their failures. Let's bring all this together. Section 4, the AI OpEx synthesis. So, if we synthesize all these core lessons into actionable takeaways, here is the overarching truth. Operational excellence absolutely must come before AI, always. AI is a tool that enhances well-designed processes. It does not magically fix broken ones. You really need to view AI as a powerful decision support amplifier, not some wholesale replacement for human expertise. And at the end of the day, customer value is the ultimate measure of success. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one crucial, provocative question to really chew on before you start your next technology integration. Think about this. Are you actually optimizing your process, or are you just automating your mistakes faster? Think deeply about that. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep striving for true operational excellence.